In this topic, we are predicting the products of a neutralization reaction. This question says, predict the products of the reaction below. That is, complete the right-hand side of the chemical equation. Be sure your equation is balanced. Well, first we need to understand what a neutralization reaction is. A neutralization reaction occurs when we have an acid reacting with a base. Now remember, we can identify our acids generally when we look at a chemical formula. If we have hydrogen at the beginning of that chemical formula, chances are it is an acid, and those hydrogens listed up front are what we call the ionizable hydrogens. Bases can be identified on the basis of whether or not we see the hydroxide anion present. So here we see we have an acid and we have a base, and this would actually be hydrochloric acid, and this would be calcium hydroxide. So when we have an acid reacting with a base, we always produce two things. We produce water and we produce a salt. A cation and an anion come together to form a salt. So this is a neutralization reaction. An acid neutralized by a base to form water and a salt. These are always the products that we get. In this case, I have a strong acid, hydrochloric acid, reacting with a strong base to produce water and salt. By definition, this is a perfect example of a neutralization reaction. So I know that my first product is going to be water. Now I notice that ALEKS hasn't, in this particular topic, hasn't stressed the states of matter. So I'm actually not going to include them as I write the chemical formula for my products as well. Okay. So we have water produced and we also have a salt produced. The question is, how do I know what the salt is? Well, let's take the cation from hydrochloric acid and let's take the anion from our base. Well, of course, that comes together to form water. Okay, H and OH form water. That's what we have. So you won't ever see this written as HOH. That is exactly what we have here. So all we're doing is what we've been doing. We're going to take the cation from this substance, combine it with the anion from this substance, and then the cation here, and combine it with the anion there. So our cation here is calcium, combine it with chloride, and there we have our salt. Now the charge on calcium is 2+. I know that because I need 2 hydroxides for every 1 calcium here in the chemical formula. Also, calcium is an element in the group 2A, so it will form an ion with a charge of 2+. That means I need 2 chlorides for every 1 calcium ion because this as a compound is neutral. Okay, so what are the 2 products that I can predict from this neutralization reaction of hydrochloric acid and calcium hydroxide? Water and calcium chloride.